I'm here today with my colleague, Jim Montague. Of course, I'm Len Vermillion, editor-in-chief of Control Global, and Jim is executive editor. And we are both just back from the ARC Leadership Forum in Orlando, Florida. And we're going to chat a little bit about what we saw because it was a really interesting show. So, Jim, I'm going to let you start this conversation off because you were there longer than I was for
Right.
the whole show. So what would you say? What was the big theme takeaway that you found?
Well, the big theme for me, I mean, artificial intelligence, AI is on everybody's lips all the
Mhm.
time, and but in the case of ARC, my unit of measure is always, can I use this as a story? And
Mhm.
whereas most, technical conferences might have, two or three or four things that would make good feature articles, as usual, ARC has a lot more and it had like eight or nine things that I was saying to myself, man, this would make a good feature article. It was also the 14th annual edition of the traditional cybersecurity sessions that were
Mhm.
organized by Sid Snitkin, who's
Mhm.
ARC's VP and GM of Enterprise Services. Some of the cybersecurity strategies reported on by Sid, uh, Fortinet, that was the sponsor, and the other speakers included, very good advice that was like enabling firewalls to perform deeper cyber threat detections and as well as more granular network segmentation of equipment, which is now being called micro segmentation, but it's dividing up functional area, not just, companies and facilities, but then dividing up, individual work cells and pieces of equipment, with their own subnets and separating them by firewalls, etc. The speakers at the cybersecurity portion that kicked off the event, they also reference virtual patching, which apparently consists of addressing vulnerabilities in legacy devices without taking them out of operation, and then using further segmentation to shroud them from exposure to possible cyber attacks.
Right. So that
So,
certainly seems like something that a lot of people would be interested in because I know as we move into all these new systems, the thing that you hear over and over is people aren't just going to get rid of their legacy systems tomorrow. So
right.
and they're not equipped for today's cyber threats, I would think. So,
Yeah. Well, they also reemphasize that it's still crucial to gain management buy-in and support, maintain cooperation between increasingly OT and IT converged staffs, and then conduct ongoing training for personnel.
mhm.
In addition to the cybersecurity theme, the very popular topics that we talked about earlier, digital twins and simulation can enable
Mhm.
cybersecurity. And several of the presenters even said that, AI tools like Chat GPT have the
Mhm.
potential to help too. Though most of those efforts, they're still in the kind of early experimental stages.
I think that's all. I mean, when you look at the overall theme of this show, or what we've seen is how, things like AI are just I think we saw some real actionable items for AI that are at least being starting to be implemented. And it sounds like cybersecurity is definitely one where
Right.
people are finding a usefulness to AI. Nobody wants to just put AI into a system just to put AI
Mhm.
into a system, but it has a purpose. And
Right.
so,
It's just this was always the way. When things like Ethernet showed up, people were like, "Hey, you can just have this cable and get a few parameters." When wireless was being introduced, or a lot of the different things, the digital, all of these things, when they come up, people are saying, "Well, just try it out in a little, corner of your facility that's not mission critical. Experiment with it. Get some experience with it." And this isn't just because the IT side is like, you must use these IT tools. You want to use it in a non-hazardous or non-mission critical area. and get a experience with, and then see if it can even have the potential for being used in a
Mhm.
production setting.
So we should step back here a second because, what we're talking about right now, obviously, are the large language models on AI, and we haven't really gone into the agentic side, which there was a lot of talk about agentic at this conference,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
and we're
No,
gonna
abs
we're gonna get into that in a minute. But I just always want to clarify. But yeah, the idea for what LLMs can do for people definitely really help on the cybersecurity side, the system design side, things of that nature, training. Uh, we've heard this for a while now, where LLMs can really set up training for future generations of workers on these legacy systems, and
right. Ashen Parikh, the
yeah,
strategy
yeah,
and transformation SVP for global supply chain and operations at PepsiCo,
it's,
reported that it's got a huge workload. He reported that
yeah,
PepsiCo's farm to table operations generate about 1 billion interactions
hmm
daily. And this requires it to organize and manage what he said was about 15 petabytes of data.
hmm
And so, he reported that PepsiCo is already using AI to assist his company with this monumental task and
yeah,
make its operations more predictive and help it understand and react more quickly to market conditions. Well, he said there was four pillars where PepsiCo is
hmm
applying AI tools, including functional scope for operations to make them more compliant, safe,
hmm
scalable, reusable, responsible, and integrated by design. There was also a multi-agent framework to help the company progress toward a hybrid human and AI workforce. And then it was also a digital twin 2.0 program that integrates a human and society-based simulation engine.
hmm
And finally, using generative AI infused robotics.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that's kind of the stuff that scares people, I think, but very
man,
useful. I think we're here. It's kind of funny. I had in my head when he was talking, are we out of hearing the term digitalization and now into humanization because machines learning from other machines?
oh man.
I guess if we want to kind of take this out on a high note here, I'm just wondering, Jim, if you can. What made you leave Orlando just thinking to yourself like, wow, outside of, we're going back to snow and the weather was better there.
Well, it was just as I'm always on the hunt for specific stories, and
Mm.
like I said, where there's usually just a few sessions at the average technical conference that are can be turned into stories. Like I said, there was a seven, eight, nine or more sessions that would make good stories.
People are actually finding real world applications for agentic AI in particular. I mean,
Yeah.
outside of just LLMs and I don't know, there doesn't seem to be as big of a fear about it. Um, one thing that struck me, and I didn't hear I heard it, but I didn't hear a ton about how uh, trying to assure everybody that's not going to take workers' jobs. Although certainly people have brought that up,
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I
Well,
don't think I think people have come to grasp that this is a tool and not a worker. So,
right. Well, everybody, the presenters, again, there is it isn't that jobs will change. People, everybody stresses that it will augment workers and will allow them to do their less repetitive tasks, allow them to do more value added functions and stuff. But it's incumbent upon everybody to kind of get educated about, explore them, experiment
mhm,
with them, try to use them, and they can't. The potential for benefit is enormous. Undoubtedly, there's always the do less with more means, do more with less people. But then there's no reason that folks can't shift